Next up is Beverage Memes 2, the first time a question has ever been asked on behalf of a Facebook page. This fine Facebook page asks, what are your views regarding Social Security, welfare, and socialized healthcare? As someone who lives in Britain, we take free healthcare for granted and can rely on very generous benefits when unemployed or too lazy to work. Personally, I find this system mostly unnatural and a form of leftist theft that aims to redistribute private wealth. I'm interested to know what you think about the European approach to wealth redistribution and where you would draw the line for tax-funded healthcare and unemployment benefits. My European listeners, like yourself, definitely have a system in place in their native lands that we in America have, but not quite to the level that you have yet. In America, we have Section 8 and EBT. It's free. Swipe yo EBT. Shout out to Chapter Jackson. If by some chance you're listening, I'd love to have you on the show. Anyway, my worldview, as I've said on previous episodes of the show, is informed by the fact that we have had generations of dysgenic breeding allowed by a welfare state, which is in turn allowed by taxation of a healthy middle class. And maybe I haven't explained this well enough, but I think that if I explain this well enough now, it will also answer this question. Basically, what I mean by dysgenic breeding is that we're being outbred by people who shouldn't be having children. At best, the children of dysgenic practices will be bureaucrats, people who sit at desks making sure that chair doesn't roll away. Essentially, the best of what we can expect out of this dysgenic breeding are people that don't produce anything. They are middlemen. They take wealth. They don't produce it. Which is fine for the leftist class, because people who don't produce anything don't vote conservatively. Because what does conservative mean? To conserve, wanting to conserve what you have, wanting to conserve your culture, the fruits of your labor, anything, your family, whatever. The same reasoning applies to people who take and don't really work at all. They can't even bother to be middlemen. And that's where the worst of the dysgenic breeding comes in, because people who take from society in a very direct way are usually criminal scum. At their most pleasant, they're loud and uncultured. At their worst, they'll invade your home and burn it down. And by home, I mean both in the domestic sense and in the national sense. So that's why I believe that dysgenic breeding is bad all around. There's no good about it. There's nothing good about willingly, purposefully creating an underclass. And not just any kind of underclass, a permanent underclass with no hope of ever leaving it because they lack the genetic, biological drive to do so. So, beverage memes, while I am sympathetic to some poor people, I am against anything that keeps them alive past their expiration date. The European style from cradle to grave welfare system definitely does that.